Did you know that life can exist inside a computer? Scientists have built systems that can mutate, that can compete for resources, that can evolve entirely on their own. A couple of guys from Harvard showed that simple molecules can assemble themselves into tiny cell-like bubbles. Then when they're hit with light, those bubbles start running chemistry that looks like life. Given the right conditions, they grow, they divide, they change over time. Some of these systems have no DNA, they have no biology, they have just chemistry and light. Such an example makes you question, well, do we call such an example life? That raises a very uncomfortable question of what is life? We can examine this from a couple of angles, from science, from philosophy, religion. We'll see that your laptop might just be alive. We'll see how kids are really good at solving the problem of what is life, a problem that has turned even Nobel Prize winners. We are going to talk about life in a practical, raw way. Somewhere at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, there is a field of ancient stone chimneys called the Lost City. And some scientists believe that this is where life started. Not in a warm pond, not in a lightning bolt, not in creation, just the chemistry of rock and water. In the beginning, simple molecules formed, and then those molecules started doing something amazing. They started capturing energy and using that energy to create even more complex molecules. There was no magic, there was no mystery, just chemistry that really got good at doing its job. Then, over millions of years, simple molecules clumped into membranes, and then they formed the first simple cells. Life didn't start with information, DNA, just molecules and energy. The next time someone asks, where are you from? Maybe I should answer, I'm from a crack in a rock about 4 billion years ago. Not everyone believes in the crack in a rock story, that we all came from the ocean. For billions of people, life didn't start with chemistry. It started with intention. Like in the Bible, God speaks the world into existence. The light, sky, land, creatures, all of them, and He creates man. Then He breathes life into man. And life isn't some chemical accident, it's a gift from God. In Islam, the same story holds. In Islam, breath is what really separates the living from the non-living. Not metabolism, not DNA, the soul. In Hinduism, your Atman, your eternal, unchanging self, was never born and will never die. The body is just a vehicle. There is no permanent self. Life is like a river, not a rock. Always flowing, always changing, never the same twice. What all these religious traditions share, it's that life is not an accident. Life has sacred purpose. It answers to something bigger than biology. It answers to the divine. Philosophers have had thousands and thousands of years to answer the simple question of what is life. They still haven't, not in a conclusive way anyway. And this is the reason why. It's 350 BC. Greece is fractured. The city-states are tearing each other apart, and a new empire, Macedonia, is circling, getting ready to swallow them. War is everywhere. And then one man decides that, okay, the most important thing he can do is sit down and think. Aristotle looks around at a world on fire and asks a simple question. What actually separates the living from the dead? He's the OG scientist. He doesn't have long to figure things out. His answer is simple. He says that living things fight back. A rock doesn't, a corpse doesn't, wounded animals do. That stubborn refusal to give up is life. Plants feed and reproduce, animals move and feel, humans are able to move around and think. So from his logic, plants are less alive because they can't fight back. Animals are more alive than plants, and the human being is the most alive of them all. Congratulations! Germany is expanding in Europe. Bombs are falling everywhere. People dying in the streets. A guy called Albert Camus, and he sits down and thinks that the most urgent question is not how do we win the war. His question is life even worth living? He feels it's really urgent. He has got to solve it before the world comes to his door, he answers the question like this: human beings, we want meaning. The universe does not give us meaning. It kind of replaces the question of what is life with, is life worth living? Some might say he's evading the question of what life is. I think he's giving a good interpretation of life from a very subjective, qualitative perspective. A living system is evolving inside computers right now. Not a game, not a simulation, something that wasn't supposed to happen. In the 1990s, a scientist called Tom Ray built a simple program, and he gave it one job: survive. What happened next was unexpected. The program started replicating and competing with other programs. Some programs ran faster than other programs and killed other programs. Parasites evolved, the hosts evolved defenses against the parasites. Basically, an entire ecosystem appeared, and he was not sure whether he should turn the thing off. Today, we call such systems digital organisms. There is a sprawling collection of them: Barbite, Game of Life, etc. Little creatures on a screen, missing food, dying, reproducing, evolving in real time. Nobody programmed them what to do. It just happened. There is something very uncomfortable about all of these things. If these systems are able to mutate and evolve and replicate, does it mean life is a process rather than just something contained in carbon or DNA? Can we have life growing on computers, life growing on metal, basically on anything? Some scientists argue that even the internet is a living system, self-replicating code, evolving algorithms, behaviors that are emergent. Are they saying that your laptop is conscious? Maybe, maybe not. Point is, the line between living systems and complex information processing systems is getting very blurry and tricky. And the blurrier it gets, the harder it is to say where life begins and where life ends. The answer to what life is might be simpler than we have let on. A 4-year-old kid might have already solved the problem that Nobel Prize winners are still arguing about. Kids automatically know that a dog is alive, the table is not alive, the robot may be alive. They can't explain it, they don't have a definition. They just know. That intuition, that gut level recognition of life is so reliable and so universal that it shows up across every culture on earth. Scientists call this sort of thing folk biology, the innate ability of your brain to categorize the living world. We are born with it. We are born with a built-in life detector, which is wild because scientists who spent like decades trying to define life in a lab still can't fully agree on it. The child doesn't need a definition. The philosopher needs 100 pages, and somehow the kid always knows. So who is really right and who is overcomplicating things here? Here is something your biology books did not teach you. Life isn't just biological, it's also subjective, it's political, and for most of human life it's been like a raw physical struggle against tribe wanting to steal your resources, against nature, against storms, and against diseases. For a lot of it, having more life around you sort of meant having power against the elements, against warring tribes. If you have more oxen on your farm, then you can have bigger harvest. If you have more workers on your field, you can have a larger harvest and more leverage. If you have more people around you, can have more soldiers for the army, more children to inherit your throne. Countries and empires aren't just built on ideas and philosophy. They're built on bodies and work and energy. A bad example would be slavery, which was basically extraction of life for labor. Life in this frame is most fundamental resource there is for politics, empire, and country. Life has always been about survival, and survival has always been about how you interact with the world, with other people, with other nations, with diseases, and wild animals. There's a simple reason why scientists find it hard to define life, while 4-year-olds already know what life is. Here's the thing. We have these powerful narratives about what life is, that life might have begun as chemicals in the vents of the ocean, or the sacred breath of life from God, the kid's intuition, the political perspective of empires. We have all these definitions, but we don't have one definition that covers everything. And here's the reason. Life evolved to defy definitions. Every time you say that, oh, this thing is alive because it replicates, something shows up out of nowhere to challenge that. It could be a computer program also replicates. Or you could say that, oh, this thing is life because it metabolizes, i.e. it converts energy into action. But then you find viruses don't metabolize, yet they they are life forms. The examples are like numerous. Some prions replicate without genes, digital organisms evolve without being made of matter. Life keeps on moving the goalposts, because life is actually the movement of the goalposts. It is the process by which matter gets increasingly good at not following simple rules. And that's the thing that has made life so beautiful and diverse. Two things that are very different are still part of life. And that's like the most mind-blowing thing for me in the world. You remember the 4-year-old? Even with all this diversity and complexity, we still know life when we see it, we feel it, and our intuition is very right with this thing. And I think it might be the most sophisticated life detection system ever built, and it might be the thing that we want to call to when we're trying to know what is life. So what is life? Our intuition tells us life is a chemical reaction that got out of hand. Life is a gift from God breathed into dust. Life is a felt experience. Life is code that learns to copy itself. Life is the thing that the kid recognizes before they have any words for it. Life is the lifeblood of an empire. Life isn't one thing, and it never was. Here's something interesting. People usually mean very different things when they ask, what is the meaning of life? Or when they say life is meaningless. We'll try and figure out what they really mean by these things.